ॐ ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः. So welcome back everyone once again. Over to you, sir.
So we are as far as the chapters in the book is concerned, we have crossed a lot of the part of the course, that is the geography of Rigveda, by going through the different rivers. So last session we saw the two rivers Gomati and Mahatnu. And we got some clarity that Gomati is another Ṛgvedic river, which is like Sarayu, where it has a mirror image or an eastern counterpart. Both Sarayu and Gomati are there in the east. Similarly, there is Sarayu and Gomati in the west. And mostly in the Ṛgvedic geography, it captures the western side, Gomati and Sarayu. So we identified or familiarized with the river Gomati, that is the Gomal river. And Gomal is the river in Pakistan. It is a tributary of the Sindhu River, a western tributary. So it originates in the western mountains of Pakistan, in Balochistan area, and then it's a little bit north of the Balochistan, and then from there it flows from west to east and joins the Sindhu River. So that is the Gomati, the Gomal River. And we also noted the river name is coming from the go, that is the cow. So that region is rich in cows. So that is why Gomati is called the cow rich, or Gomati, that is plentiness of cows. So they are maybe the Vedic people there were like rearing cattle, and there was a lot of grazing lands around the banks of river Gomati, on the basin of Gomati. So that's plenty of cows grazing in that region, and that is why Gomati is basically called the cow. The meaning is cow rich, that is rich in cows, etc. So that Gomati we have seen, and if you remember, we have also seen the what do you call one of the river called Mehatnu, which is a river currently not flowing. So it is something similar to like Saraswati, because people know Saraswati was an ancient Ṛgvedic river which is not flowing right now. So when we read Rigveda, definitely we have many other rivers having the same characteristics. Like Saraswati, it's an ancient river but not flowing today. But hydrology, the river channels can be seen in the satellites. So we have noted that river Mehatnu is a very interesting tributary of river Sindhu, but it was highly dynamic. So the river was a tributary of the Gomati, and earlier there was a period where it was a tributary of Kurram River, the Krumu River, both another river, Pakistan river. And I have explained how it's basically the geography is the main problem. I mean, or the geography is the main highlight of these rivers, because it changed the course in different periods of the Ṛgvedic development history. Early Ṛgvedic period situation was with something. Middle Ṛgvedic period it was different, and then in the late Ṛgvedic period another totally different. So highly dynamic rivers. Maybe if your people are if just for a recap, just me find out if that. So this is that situation that we have seen in the last session, the highly dynamic rivers. Initially in the fourth and fifth mandala, the Kurmu River, the Kurram River directly flowing into the Indus River. Again, Indus itself, Sindhu itself was having a slightly eastward trajectory. So instead of this course, the river had a slightly eastward path. So the Kurmu River, the first one of the which we have in the previous sessions, we have seen the Kurmu River comes and joins Sindhu directly, and Mahatnu, the whatever current I mentioned, Mahatnu River comes and joins Gomati, and Gomati comes and joins Sindhu. That was the situation in the fourth and fifth mandala. So in our enumeration of the rivers which are found in the fourth and fifth mandala, there is no mention of Mahatnu. It is Kuba, Krumu, Gomati, like that. Without referring to Mahatnu, it enumerate Kuba, Krumu, and Gomati are the tributaries of Sindhu. Like that, there is a Sukta. Sindhu River is there, and its tributaries Gomati, sorry, Krumu. This is the Sindhu River. Its tributaries Kuba, Krumu, Gomati. Like that, there is a sequence of river names. And of course, last Sarayu is mentioned in a separate verse. So indication is that Kuba, Krumu, and Gomati are western rivers, and Sarayu is a standing out river, which is the eastern tributary of Sindhu. So that indication also we get from the Sukta. And Mahatnu is invisible. There is no mention of Mahatnu in that, because it was like flowing directly to the Gomati River. So the poet didn't like choose to enumerate a tributary of a tributary. So that is why only Kubha, Krumu, Gomati are mentioned, and then separately Sarayu is mentioned. That is a eastern tributary of Sindhu. Others are western tributary. And in the 10th mandala, situation again totally dynamic. Here the Nadi Sukta, what it mentioned Kubha, and then the Sukta mentioned in a very cryptic manner that Gomati is bringing Krumu and Mahatnu into Sarayu. So that is a cryptic manner the rivers are enumerated. So Kubha is there because there is no complexity. Kubha is directly joining Sindhu, and Krumu and Mahatnu are now joining Gomati. So if you look at the river enumerated, how it is enumerated in the Nadi Sukta of the 10th mandala, it will tell you, grammatically, it will tell you Gomati is bringing the waters of Mahatnu and Krumu. So that kind of information you get in the 10th mandala. After 10th mandala, of course, which is not recorded because Ṛgveda ended off by 10th mandala. Again, for a shorter period, these three rivers, Krumu, Mahatnu, and Gomati, all became tributaries of Indus, because the Sindhu River changed the course and moved westwards. When it moved westwards, it was flowing through the channel of Krumu directly. So Krumu is here, not directly it is flowing like this. So Krumu becomes a tributary of Sindhu. Mahatnu, which was flowing into Gomati, became tributary of Sindhu, and Gomati herself became tributary of Sindhu. So these three rivers become tributary of Sindhu after the 10th mandala. So this is highly dynamic. In the 4th and 5th, this is the middle Ṛgvedic period. Krumu was directly a tributary of Sindhu. Mahatnu was a tributary of Gomati, which is a tributary of Sindhu. 10th mandala period, both Krumu and Mahatnu became tributary of Gomati. And that is what recorded in the Nadi Sukta, which says Gomati is bringing Mahatnu and Krumu into Sindhu. So that is a cryptic manner. The poet Sindhukshit Priyameda, in a cryptic manner, he was trying to explain that situation. That two rivers are brought by Gomati. That means these two other rivers are tributary of Gomati, and Gomati is bringing that waters to Sindhu. And this is captured in the 10th mandala Nadi Sukta. And Kubha directly joining, Kubha is the Kabul River. Krumu is the Kurram River. These are all very important rivers in Pakistan, because Pakistan doesn't have too many rivers. So whatever little rivers they have, very much important for the hydrology and the water resources. So Kurram River is important, Gomati is important. Unfortunately, Mahatnu is dried out. That's what I'm saying. Mahatnu is a dried up river, just like Saraswati. And again, of course, not dried out in the post-Ṛgvedic period. So it was having a flow. Today it is dried out. Today there is no river called Mahatnu, but only a channel is there. And of course, like in India, in the Yamuna Canal, etc. We are using a Vyavadi channel. We are using as a Yamuna Kara. So this channel, dried up channel, they are using for irrigation purpose. There is a water canal or some irrigation they are doing using it. But otherwise, there is no river flow, completely dried out. So Mahatma is one of the dried up rivers, just like Saraswati. So I just stop here because this is a recap of our previous session to get more clarity and just brought in. So today we are actually focusing on a very interesting and important river called there's Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. So again, this is also for as far as Ṛgvedic and Sushoma is concerned, the most important aspect about them is the geography itself, because it is also having a lot of river dynamics. So maybe I'll just open it and show you. So here, this is also primarily we are focusing on the geographical aspect because these rivers are mainly famous for its geography. So the dynamics of Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. Yes. So this is the Sushoma river. This is the flow of the Sushoma river. And Ṛgvedic is this river. Here you can see the Ṛgvedic. So basically what happens is that in the fourth mandala, this is the period when the Ṛgvedic people have come to Sarayu river. And the river Sarayu started appearing in the Rigveda in the fourth mandala. And that time this river was a very powerful river. Very short in duration. I mean, very short in the length, but it was a very powerful river because the Sushoma and Ṛgvedic were joining directly into the Sarayu river. Current name of the Sarayu is Haro river. I explained it like because this H is basically the pronunciation of the Daityas or the Avestan people. So Sarayu they will call Harayu, and then in that Harayu it is shortened into Haro. So that is how it becomes the Haro river. So in the Sarayu river, the two rivers Sushoma and Ṛgvedic were flowing into the Sarayu river. Because of all these things, this river was a very powerful river. And this is also the reason why we see this Sarayu river is the domain of the Trikshis. And we know the Trikshis are none other than the Western Ikshvakus. And they have the great kings like Trasadasya and Purugutsa. And the Trasadasya and Purugutsa, the two Western Ikshvaku kings, were the great supporters of the Bharata lineage, especially the Samvarana Bharata lineage. So they gave the asylum for the ancestor of the Kuru, Samvarana, when he was fleeing from Varaprithvya, that is Kurukshetra, defeated by Sudas. So of course we saw them having a battle, the Dasharajana battle or the battle of the 10 kings, where this Samvarana with the nickname Puru and Anava king Kavichayamana, both of them come together with 8 other kings, and the battle of 10 kings battle with Sudas. Again, Sudas was very powerful, so they again got defeated and they went westward. And we know that the people who migrated westward, one group of one important dynasty, that is the Samvarana Bharata dynasty, they didn't go like further westward into Europe or Iran. They just stayed in the Sarayu river. And they lived here getting asylum by the Ikshvakus, the Trikshis or the Western Ikshvakus. So Prasadasyu and Purugutsa, all of them, they give support to them. And then because of the Samvarana Bharata lineage getting blended, they got marital relationship between the Ikshvakus and the Samvarana Bharata lineage. And also as a result of it, a new lineage emerged, and that is a Kuru lineage. And the most famous Kuru king returned to Varaprithvya, their home territory, from where they migrated. So in that, they returned back to that same place. At that time, the Tritsu Bharadas, the descendants of Sudas, were less powerful. And they even got shifted to the southern part of the Kurukshetra, that is Kurujangala, whatever we call it, Kurujangala. So we have noted all those things. And these Tritsus are the ancestors of the Panchalas. Because of that, in the Mahabharata, all these things are recorded there. Instead of recording them as Tritsus, they will be recorded as Panchalas, etc. And Ramayana being an intermediary text between Ṛgveda and Mahabharata. Again, they mention Panchalas as ruling in the Kuruchandala region. All these are because in the intermediate period, in the middle Ṛgvedic period, the descendants of Sudas become very weak. There was some few more powerful kings like Sahadeva and Somaka, and after that there are no big great kings in that lineage. Because of that, the lineage declined, and that is all captured in the Veda. We have gone through some of the verses where they say, "Please don't break our eggs." No, that kind of pleading to the Ṛgvedic Devatas because they were very weak. Enemies were attacking them, and at that time they migrated to the southern part, that is from Kurukshetra or Varaprithvya, that is the older name. They migrated southward and started living in the currently what is called Delhi region, etc. That is why the rivers in that region like Sahibi is mentioned as Shifa river, and other like Drishadwadi and the Saraswati in the southern parts, they were known as Veerapatni and Kulisi. That kind of names we will see in the middle part of the Ṛgveda because these people migrated southwards, means to the Delhi region. And Yavyavadi is also mentioned as Anjasi. So we have seen that Anjasi, Yavyavadi. I mean, we have seen that verse where it described the three rivers, Anjasi, Kulisi, Veerapatni, and another verse mentioning about Shifa. All of these are because these people migrated southwards and the local geographical rivers became prominent in the Ṛgveda. Otherwise, nowhere other place these rivers are mentioned. So we have seen those in our previous sessions. And at that time, the Samvarana Bharata, as I mentioned, this is the Sarayu. This is the same Sarayu river that gave asylum to the ancestor of Kuru, the Samvarana, and the Ikshvakus, that is the Western Ikshvakus or Trikshis. The kings like Trasadasya and Purugusa were ruling from here. Their capital will be like located in some place here. And Samvarana was living here, getting the asylum. And also there was a kind of a love story here, like Samvarana got attracted to the Ikshvaku princess Tapati Vaivaswati, and then Vasishta arranged their marriage and they became married. All these things I mentioned before. So that is the area of the Sarayu river. And another reason why the Sarayu is very powerful at that time is because Sushoma and Arjgiya were flowing into that Sarayu river. So it was a mighty river. And that is why in the fourth mandala you get the name Sarayu, etc. Now, after this is the fourth mandala is a middle Ṛgvedic period. And now comes the eighth mandala period. What happened? So in the eighth mandala period, the Sushoma and Arjgiya directly is flowing directly into the Sindhu river. So the status of Sarayu as their main river lost. The river Sushoma and Arjgiya. So Arjgiya is more or less like a tributary of Sushoma. But typically the Ṛgvedic rishis are given equal importance to Arjgiya and Sushoma. So it is considered as a dual river. It's a very rare situation. Typically, any two rivers will be either one of them is a tributary, another one is a main river. But these two rivers are very important because of that. They don't consider one as tributary of the other. Directly, they mention Arjgiya and Sushoma. What is the importance of these rivers? This is because these two rivers are the places where the Soma plants are born. Because in the eighth mandala, whenever they talk about Soma, they always talk about Arjgiya and Sushama. So these two rivers are the Soma growing, Soma cultivating areas. They flow through the Soma cultivating area. Of course, the name itself, Sushoma, basically means that you can get the best quality Soma here. The Soma plants were growing along these rivers and this river. That is why these two rivers have great importance. And they also talk about a lake called the Saryanavati Lake, a lake on the Sarayu River, Saryanavati. And this lake is also very famous for Soma. And since there is a lake here, and the river is originating from the lake, because this from here to here it is a mountain range. So when people look on, they see there is a lake in a mountain. In an elevated mountain, there is a lake. And from that lake, no, the river is descending to the plains and flowing. That is why this river itself is called Sarayu. It is originating in the lake. Sarayu means originating in the lake. So that etymology also becomes very significant for the river Sarayu because of this Saryanavati lake. The entire region is also named Saryanavath because of this lake. Because like typically the larger regions are named after smaller something very special in the smaller like in that region. So this Saryanavati lake is very special because again it is a Soma growing region. Sushoma and Arjigya, two rivers, they are also very special because this is the place where Soma is growing. So the Soma culture or Soma cult strengthened in the late Ṛgvedic period. Maybe in the fourth mandala period, they were not familiar. I mean, you have the Soma there, but they are not very familiar with it. But in the eighth mandala period, the Soma cultivation become very dominant, and Soma become a very important drink at that period. Like as the chronology increases, as far as Ṛgveda is concerned, the younger mandalas have more importance to the Soma, and similarly, horses become more important in the younger mandalas. Soma become more important in the younger mandala. So many such things are there. So the Soma mandala itself is there. The ninth mandala is called Soma mandala. So the importance of Soma increase, and of course then the Soma growing regions, that is Sushoma and Arjigya, the rivers, everything become very important. Sharyanavati lake become very important. And there are two places on there is a place called Arjika, and that is why the river also called Arjigya. And there is a place called Sushoma, and that is why the river originating from that mountain is called Sushoma. So these Arjika and Sushoma are primarily mountain names, and Sharyanavati is a lake name. So this Sharyanavati, Arjika, and Sushoma are you can say the capital of Soma, because the best quality Soma is obtained from these regions. Exactly, the Ṛgvedic rishis are literally telling about the location where the best quality Soma is born. So there is coming from Soma plant. The Soma extraction is a lengthy process. So there is you first take the Soma plant, and then you take even the water also you have to take from the river that is flowing through the Soma rich regions. So typically in the Ṛgveda, they say you have to take the water from Sushoma or Arjigya, or you have to take the water from Sharyanavati lake, basically from the Sarayu river, or you have to take the water from Sindhu river. Because after the best quality Soma in Sushoma, Arjigya, and Sharyanavati, the next best is the Soma growing in the Sindhu river. So you have to take the water from any of these rivers. Either you have to take it from the best quality means you have to take it from Sushoma, or from Arjigya, or from Sharyanavati, or from Sindhu river. So this is also mentioned in the Ṛgveda. And that water you have to use that water for Soma preparation, along with the Soma plants growing in this region. And then a lot of processes are there. That ninth mandala is all about that. How to prepare Soma step by step. They even mention the filter used. After you extract Soma, you have to mix it with honey and with milk, and then it is something like a manufacturing process. They mention about it. With so many suktas are actually different processes of manufacturing, or the right word is for preparing Soma, and they even mention the instruments used like filters, etc. So this Soma culture become very prominent in the 8th mandala, 9th mandala, etc. Especially the 9th mandala, the entire mandala itself is for Soma preparation and Soma creation, etc. So these rivers become prominently mentioned in the Ṛgveda, and these two rivers are mentioned in the context of Soma preparation and the source of Soma, etc. But the only thing is, what happened dynamically, river dynamics, as far as river dynamics is what happened is earlier, this Sushoma and Arjika were mentioned as two place names, never the river names. Because that time the rivers were flowing directly to Sarayu river. See, the river that originated from the Sushoma mountain, Sushoma, it was flowing like this and joining Sarayu. Another river originating from the Arjikya mountain. Ṛgvedic mountain, Ṛgvedic, directly originating and then flowing into Sarayu. So since these two rivers were directly like flowing into Sarayu like a tributary, the rishis were not giving any much importance to these two rivers. They were smaller in size, and they were quickly reaching the Sarayu River. So they are given a status of a tributary, just like the case of Mehatnu. When the Mehatnu was a tributary of Sindhu, it was not given much importance. It was completely, the name itself was ignored. So similar kind of situation. So in the fourth mandala, you don't see the names like Sushoma or Ardhikiya. Even if you see the names of mountain like Sushoma and Ardhika. Please like understand that in the Sanskritam, the name ends without a dirgha, that is a male name, typically given for mountains. So when I say Sushoma, basically it is a mountain name. But if I say Sushoma with a dirgha, it becomes a river name. The rivers are typically female, so that is why it become river. So you have to be very careful when I'm saying it. So see, the names like the mountain names are there in older mandalas. That's what I'm saying basically. But the river names are absent in the older mandalas. But suddenly in the 8th mandala, the two river names are appearing, Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. At that time, they were no longer tributaries of Sarayu. They got an importance that at least Sushoma was directly flowing into the Sindhu River. So it becomes a de facto tributary of Sindhu, its status increased. And of course, there is an exception here, Ṛgvedic. It is actually a tributary of Sushoma. But because of its great importance, because these two rivers were very important in terms of Soma growing, this Ṛgvedic is given a status of a Sushoma itself. Like they are always mentioned together. Just for another example, they are mentioned in pair. So Ṛgvedic, wherever Ṛgvedic, Sushoma is mentioned, Ṛgvedic also are getting mentioned. And of course, like Sariyanavat river, lake also, because their mention is primarily as a Soma growing region. So whenever you mention one Soma growing region, naturally the adjacent region get mentioned. That is how they get mentioned. So Ṛgvedic and Sushoma, the two rivers are more or less described in pairs, like Kali and Dwapara, or Krishna and Arjuna, something like that. They are always mentioned together. And of course, there is a triad also. Like some of the suttas mention Sushoma, Ṛgvedic, and the Saryanavati lake also. This is because these three are the Soma growing regions. The best quality Soma growing region. So there is a triad like Sushoma, Ṛgvedic rivers and the Saryanavati lake. That's a triad. Or the two rivers, Sushoma and Ṛgvedic, are mentioned together like a pair. And of course, there is one person left out, that is the Pastyavati. It's a place name. And of course, when I say Pastyavati, also very famous for Soma. Maybe a Soma processing place. Not exactly mentioned as a Soma growing region, but the place where the Soma get collected and assembled and processed, etc. So that is the Pastyavati. And if I tell the current name, then you get it will get registered in your mind. The Pastyavati is currently known as Takshashila, because during the Aitihasic period, that is both in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, Pastyavati is Takshashila. In the Ramayana Uttarakhanda, the Takshashila is mentioned as a place conquered by Bharata's son Taksha. I mean, Bharata conquered it and installed his son Taksha as the king of Takshashila. So that way, in the Ramayana, Takshashila is mentioned as a capital of the Bharata's first son. The second son, Pushkala, became the king of Gandhara, that capital, Pushkalavati. So these two capitals are established by sons of Bharata. Bharata means Rama's brother, Bharata. And in the Mahabharata, I think it is more dominant, more clear. Takshashila is considered as a stronghold of Takshaka, who killed Parikshit. And Takshashila also got conquered by Janamejaya, that is Parikshit's son, to teach a lesson to Takshaka. So all these things is mentioned in the Mahabharata. So that famous place is the Pastyavati. And Pastyavati is one of the very rare place names mentioned in the Ṛgveda. The other two are like Manusha and Ilaspada. Both these two places are currently falling in Kurukshetra. So you have three prominent place names mentioned in the Ṛgveda. One is Manusha associated with Manu. Another is Ilaspada associated with Manu's daughter Ila. Both of them in Kurukshetra or Varaprithvi, that is in Haryana. And just one place name, Pastyavati, is mentioned in the Ṛgveda, and that is Takshashila. So that you can see the kind of importance Takshashila is having. Of course, today it is not a Taksila. Of course, it's anybody knows that it is a kind of a slight modification of the name. So Takshashila. And of course, Takshashila is historically very important because your Takshashila University, the oldest, one of the oldest university in the world, all these things are located in the Pastyavati, that is Takshashila. I mean, in the Ṛgvedic Pastyavati, in the Aitihasic period, Takshashila. And later, of course, a place of learning, etc. So that is Pastyavati here. And in the Ṛgveda, there are a lot of other indirect references which I have done using geographical analysis, not directly mentioned, but indirectly. Ṛgveda associated Pastyavati with two people, very important two people. One is Twashtar. Twashtar is as far as Ṛgveda is concerned, Twashtar is the father of Indra and Indra himself. So this is not an ordinary place. Pastyavati is the place associated with, as far as Ṛgveda is concerned, Pastyavati is the place associated with Soma processing. Pastyavati is associated with Twashtar, the architect god of in the Ṛgveda. And Pastyavati is associated with his son Indra himself. And of course, it is on the banks of Sarayu River. Soma growing region. All these things, Ṛgveda itself has given it a lot of fame. And then in the Itihasa, it became the capital of Bharata's son Taksha. That itself becomes very important. And in the Mahabharata, again, it is associated in the main narrative, being the stronghold of Takshaka, being the city defeated by Janamejaya. All these things make it very important in Mahabharata as well. So both Ṛgveda, Ramayana and Mahabharata is very much connected with Pastyavati. And in the historical period, it is connected with learning. And of course, it is mentioned, it is one of the Gandhara cities, because Gandharas were ruling up to this much entire region, right? Both the western, eastern side of Sindhu was known as Gandharva territory, as far as Ramayana's definition. Gandharva territories are spread across the east and west of Sindh. The western side, there was a capital here that is called Pushkalavati, that is ruled by second son of Bharata. And eastern side of Gandhara, the capital was Takshashila. In the Ṛgvedic period, known as Pastyavati. And the entire region was known as Haryanavat. The larger region is known as Haryanavat because of the small lake called Sharyanavati, which is on the Sarayu River, and which is famous for Soma growing region. And of course, the two rivers, Ṛgvedic and Sushoma, which is the subject of today's talk, originate from two mountains, Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. So their identity, that identity of the two rivers is that they originate from Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. That is why even when it was flowing into the Sarayu River, it was still has to be considered as Ṛgvedic because it is originating from Ṛgvedic mountain. And this river still it is having a totally different shape. It is flowing into Sarayu River in the fourth Mandala period. Still, because the river originated from Sushoma, the mountain named Sushoma, it is again Sushoma. So that is how the river identity is maintained because of the definition. The river's definition is that it is originating from this particular mountain. So whether the course of the river changes, still the river holds the definition. But of course, the rishis of the fourth mandala didn't bother to mention their names, the Ṛgvedic or Sushoma, because they are just tributaries of another tributary, the Sarayu River. So in the fourth mandala, you have only reference to Sarayu River. But in the eighth mandala, you get reference to Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. But Sarayu is not mentioned because once these rivers Sarayu lost these main tributaries, it will be reduced to some small river, etc. I consider that as one of the reason why the Sarayu lost importance in the 8th Mandala, 10th Mandala period, which is why it is not mentioned in Nadi Sukta also. Because the river lost importance. Something similar happened to the Saraswati, but in a lesser extent, it might have happened here. Maybe the complete river flow got totally reduced. So there is a rivers keep on evolving. Sometimes the river become very strong, other times it become weak, primarily because of loss of tributaries or even because of some other reasons as well. Like lesser drainage, the drainage area get completely disrupted, etc. So because of so many reasons, the Sarayu River is not finding mention in the late Ṛgvedic period. Like in the middle Ṛgveda it is mentioned, but in the late Ṛgveda it is not even mentioned in the Nadi Sukta also, because the river get lost its shine, its strength. So all these dynamics, so that's why the river dynamics, Sarayu, Adhika, and Sushoma, happen between 4th and the 8th Mandala period. So this is about the river Sarayu. I think I have now it's 6:40. I can also talk about one more river, and then we will think about. I can maybe open for discussion.